Welcome to another episode of The Cellcast
Reactions.
Joining me today is a man who, well, people confuse him for Detective Pikachu a lot. Welcome, Jacob.
Pika Pika? I'm not yellow.
No, you're not a rat either.
A fox.
Not that either.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I bark like a dog, but I'm not a fox.
So you're a Growlithe.
What the heck is a Growlithe?
The dog Pokemon.
Oh, it's a dog Pokemon. Oh, okay. Great. Oh, yeah, that thing. Anyways, why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who... Oh, man, we're in the third round of a movie. It's getting better. Welcome, Drew.
Yes, tonight, folks, we are reacting to a movie I've been looking forward to since we got out of its previous outing, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. aka Sonic Adventure 2 in many ways.
Yes.
We unfortunately, because of timing, weren't able to do the pre-movie talk, so we're just going to go jump straight into our spoiler-free reactions.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
And I'm just going to say this. It is what I was wanting out of this film. It does a great job of taking the lore necessary from the games, making it work with the lore that the movie universe is going with. And they did an excellent job of covering all the parts you want them to cover. They do change a little bit of stuff that shows things differently. Not going to get too much into what I'm referring to there, but if you know, you know. But it is literally how I would expect them to do a Sonic Shadow story in how Americans would do a Sonic Shadow story. This is, I believe the phrase that came out of my mouth is, why can't a live action Dragon Ball movie be like this?
Yeah, agreed.
Because that's kind of what this is at the end. It's a great story. Enjoyed it. It does everything that the Sonic the Hedgehog movies do well, and it takes the best parts of the game, and there are so many references, it's not even funny. I can't even go into any of them, go into all of them, even if we had 5 hours to talk about it. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? Oh, go watch it. I'll say that. My spoiler-free reaction suggestion, go watch the film. If you like the first two, if you're a Sonic fan, go watch this film.
Yes. Again, I wasn't in the exact same boat, but I was more of after watching the second installment of this now trilogy, I was excited to see what was going to happen, because obviously you watch the very end, they tease Shadow, and this man right here was giddy as a schoolboy.
Yes, I was. The minute I saw it, I was like, they're going to have to do it. Well, you can't not do it. I already knew Jim Carrey was coming back, because there's no way you can tell this story without Robotniks.
Exactly. So going into this film, I don't know if I had high expectations. I don't think I did. I think it was more, okay, whatever this movie is going to be, it's still going to be good. Because you have Jim Carrey attached, and Jim Carrey is going to be Jim Carrey. And the movie does not disappoint in any fashion or form. It is a near perfect installment to this now trilogy of Sonic films. I did have, when I learned they've already greenlit a fourth installment, I'm more concerned that they are going to, how did I phrase it? They are going to, they're going to run this thing into a wall too fast that the protagonist is going to be able to stop it.
That is a very high chance, and I will say, as a Sonic fan, there are not a lot of stories they can adapt that are excellent going forward. There's a couple of good ones, but they have pretty much used most of the pre-made. There's lore they can pull. They can do a couple things here and there. They might even be able to adapt it better than the original games were able to do it for one reason or another. Right. But yeah, I am a little worried about there being a Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Won't get into what we know about that just from this movie until we get into the spoiler-filled section.
Right.
But I can guess what game they're adapting. And while that's not necessarily a bad way to go, even if it is a bit out of order, it will be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah,
But I don't see them going much past the fourth movie without them having to seriously start writing their own stuff.
Right. So I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's got a really good, heartfelt message to it. And it's more like revenge isn't the way, and like relying on your teammates, be like friendship is key, and not letting things that happen to you in your past define you, or let the anger of that control you. And I love that story. Like it's told very well of make good choices. And obviously with Sonic, he normally never does make the right choice. But in the end, normally he does. But without the course of the films, he does make some very terrible decisions because he's a kid. But this movie is fantastic. It is a wonderful. It is a treat. You just pulled out, you went to the ice cream parlor and picked your favorite ice cream. It is that good. So yes, I would highly recommend going to the theaters and watching it. Go to the theaters. Repeat, go to the theater and watch this film.
If you can. Don't feel bad if you can't.
Yeah.
But if it is possible and you don't want to see theaters disappear, please go to the theater when you can.
Yes, exactly.
So let's go ahead and jump into the spoiler-filled reactions. And I'm going to apologize now for geeking out probably far more than I should. Even in this format we're doing. So yeah, anyway. The following is a spoiler-filled reaction for the film Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Listener discretion is advised. So here's the thing. Just as a quick primer before I start going into it. So Sonic the Hedgehog 1, that film, was loosely, and I can't stress this enough, loosely based on the game Sonic the Hedgehog 1, which didn't have much story to adapt to begin with.
Right.
It was very much a Robotnik is kidnapping animals and turning them into robots, and you have to stop him. That was basically the story.
Yeah, which is
Sonic. So the movie Sonic the Hedgehog 2 adapted the games Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Yes.
While it does combine both of those, and the story basically is that in that one that Dr. Robotnik is once again kidnapping animals to turn into robots, but he's got a big super weapon. There's a 7th Chaos Emerald. You've got to get up there and stop the giant weapon from destroying it. It crash lands onto Angel Island where Knuckles is hanging out. They go there and he's kidnapping animals on that island over there and doing that too.
Yeah.
And you do see a mystical you do have other Chaos Emeralds that come up in there to make Hyper Emeralds, blah, 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 blah. You don't care about any of that. That's what that's adapting. And then you have the Knuckles TV series, which we've not talked about. And that's because it is the goofiest thing I have ever watched. And I still don't know if I liked it or not.
okay.
I'm just going to be honest there. There's I'll say this. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd playing a old echidna is hilarious.
Oh, okay.
And that's what he does in that. So, but otherwise the story is just goofy beyond belief. This movie, I think, blows what the other films have done out of the water without really throwing them under the bus, if you get what I mean. It takes from Sonic Adventure 2, my worry going into this was how they were going to handle Shadow's story of how you were going to deal with Maria's death, because ultimately this is a kid's film. I will admit that, but it is a kid's film.
It is.
I have seen. I went earlier this year. I went and looked at every version before this film where they had shown Maria's death. So I watched the Sonic Adventure 2 version. I watched the version in the game Shadow the Hedgehog, and I watched both the Japanese anime version when they adapted Sonic Adventure 2 and the 4Kids edit, which they didn't edit much. And I will still say that, honestly, the anime, I think, is still more shocking in how they handle that scene than this does, because here you still don't see her get hit.
Yeah.
Because what gets hit is an explosive on the side of the room, and that explosion is what kills her. But they still, I think, got the idea across that of this. They got the relationship across between Maria and Shadow to where her death is felt throughout the entire film.
Yes.
And why he does what he does. And that's the part that worried me most. And I am happy to say they handled it well. Could they have handled it better? Maybe. But for what they did, I thought they handled that part of the story well, because you could not do this story without the Maria stuff.
Yeah.
They did a good job, and the making Professor Gerald Robotnik's role bigger than it was in the original game, because he barely had a role in the original game. He literally showed up at the end of the game in a recording to show how it's literally his final statement that it's being videoed right before he gets executed, and you do hear the guns go off in the game. That's spooky. Yeah. But they expanded it from just being this, voice from the past that was threatening the Earth, to being a legitimately major character in this story. And the fact that he's also played by Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is one of the few actors, I think, out there that you can say plays beautifully off of himself.
Agreed.
Because I can say that I have not seen a lot of others do that. Jack Black is one I assume could also pull that off. But the only other person I can think of, because you had Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap, and then you had the girl in the original Parent Trap movie. But the only other one I can think of is Shatner versus Shatner in Star Trek VI, and that's only for a scene.
Yeah.
And that's not even really... Well, it's two different characters, just like here. But Jim Carrey does a good job in both roles as both Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik and Professor Gerald Robotnik. You really do feel even his detest for the world as Gerald after what happened to his granddaughter. The only thing I really regret is the fact that, because they were hiding the fact that there was... It seemed like they were trying to hide the fact that there was a connection between... that Maria was a Robotnik. And I don't know why they were doing that, because we didn't get to actually see how Professor Gerald was before he was driven insane by revenge. I would have liked to have seen more of that. Okay. That's like the only real regret I have in this film. But everything else... with how they the references to the original game, the use of live and learn is amazingly done here.
So I've got to stop you right there.
Yeah, sorry.
So that moment where Sonic and Shadow are on the moon, and be like, they kind of come to like, it's okay. Be like, we realize, we're both in the wrong. We're both in the wrong. We have to learn from our lesson and grow stronger from that. And they both power up to super, super not Saiyan.
Yeah, super hedgehog.
Super hedgehog, and go careening towards the Eclipse Cannon. When it started playing that song, this man was geeking out. I was like, oh my gosh, that's not what they're doing it. They're doing it. It was... You
got to realize, I heard the notes before most of the theater did.
Yeah.
Because I heard in the background, just as it was just barely playing. I hear do 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 do. It's like, it's time. This is what we've been waiting for, folks. Granted, I do think they could have. I wish they'd have done like a more full. Like, I wish they hadn't interrupted the moment. I kind of, or at least not interrupted that song playing. Yes. I agree why they interrupted the action there, but I wish that they had done that as kind of one big set piece with everything going with that song playing in the background, because I think that would have fit better. But that's not what I was really getting. As much as I love that moment, That's not what I was getting at with Live and Learn, because in this movie, Live and Learn became kind of the theme for Shadow.
Oh, okay.
You hear it at the beginning when he's getting released from the tube.
You do.
And it's playing as like this very dark version. You hear Maria play a couple of notes on it on the guitar. It was like this was the relationship between Shadow and Maria. And I love how they used it there. The parts with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, the way they handled the Team Sonic mentality. That's the other thing, is I kind of have to add Sonic Heroes into what they adapted here, because you do have a lot of the Team Sonic mechanics. You don't get the rest of the whole Hee-Haw bunch, which is fine. We don't really need Big the Cat and Cream the Rabbit and all the other people to come along. Honestly, we only could deal with Shadow being here. We anything more introduced in here would have been great, would not have worked. But the way they handled how the Team Sonic actually used each other's abilities was right out of how those characters played in Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
You have there's little moments that are obviously caught when they're in Tokyo.
Yes.
You get the Chow Garden. That's one nice little jab. But what you also see in like the billboards around in Tokyo are all billboards that you see in the city in Sonic Adventure 2. Oh. Like there was like little things. I was like, I was trying not to say them because I'm trying to pay attention to the movie itself. But in the background, I saw things for like Chow in Space 2 and Chaos Cola and other little things like that. It's like, oh, they really went the full bore into doing this. I would not be surprised if there's a soap ad somewhere in the back there. The shoes that had that you could use to grind on rails back in the day. Okay. Because Sonic Adventure 2 did have a deal with that shoe brand for a while. Unfortunately, now when you go to it, they've edited all that out because obviously that brand deal's gone. But the movie itself, I think, is spot on. They handled everything good in terms of general story. There's so much more I want to talk about, but I'm trying to hold myself back because even with a spoiler filled, there's more to talk about than I can arguably stay on topic with. Yeah, agreed. I will go ahead and before I let you talk more about what your thoughts, I do want to talk about the after credit scene. Both after credit scenes. Yes. Because while Shadow, we do see that where Shadow sacrificed himself, much like we thought of at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, he's still around. You can't kill Shadow. He's the ultimate life form. Why do you think you could kill Shadow? But we do get at least a hint that he's there. But that's not but that's just kind of the obvious one at the very tail end. The mid-credits scene is the one I want to say I'm excited about. And I was excited the minute I recognized that it was Metal Sonic, that it was attacking Sonic. Yes. It's like, oh, yes, because Metal Sonic is one of my favorite reoccurring villains in the games. And then you have a whole horde of Metal Sonics. I'm like, oh, this is going to get good. And then you had the figure in the cloak come out, and it's like, I know who this is. There's only one person this could be, and Sonic is now going to be having to run from a lady friend now, unless they change this. And I will pay money.
He's going to pay money anyway to watch.
I will pay money anyway, but I will be extremely happy, Sega and the team who make these films, if you flip the script and have Sonic fall in love with Amy, but Amy doesn't want to reciprocate. Flip that script. It would be hilarious to me. No one else would care, but I think that would be funny. But she's got the Pico hammer that she uses in the games. I swear if they show it on her, like her wearing it, when she's not using it.
Yeah, it's an accessory.
I will not be as happy with that because I still think she needs to pull it out of thin air because that's what the joke is. It is her, she is pulling it from hammer space, much like the old cartoon characters and the old Looney Tunes cartoons and such would pull a hammer out of nowhere to smack somebody with it.
Yeah.
That is the joke. Leave the joke in there. Don't screw the joke up. Let the hammer show up out of nowhere for no good reason, and I don't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that we are getting Amy, they were smart here without having her be voiced by somebody, because that was what happened with Tails, is they use the, every other member of the Sonic crew, from the games has been recast, except for Tails, who is still voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy from the games. Or the current voice of Tails from the games. You can tell it's like, oh, we actually want to cast big name actors in these roles. Maybe we shouldn't have anyone voice her until we've actually done some casting.
Yes.
So I get that, but yeah, I'm already looking forward. It looks like they're maybe adapting Sonic CD for the next one, but I'm only saying that because you got Amy and Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing there. If that's the case, we're probably looking at time travel, which can be done well, it can be done poorly. We'll see. But yeah, I'm now looking forward to Sonic the Hedgehog 4, which I'm assuming will have a pink number 4 at the end of it with a giant hammer in the logo. So what are your thoughts?
Gotcha. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I love this film to death. It was so much fun. The fact to be like they play, because I did my research afterwards to give context, because me and Drew went to the theater last night, which was on a Thursday. You skip Bible study. It's okay. This was worth skipping Bible study over. So we get done. It's around 10-ish by the time we get back to our settled apartments,
and we just decided it. Ironically, considering it's 10 o'clock now, we would just record this the next night when we were both not tired, and we're both tired again.
Both tired now. But I thoroughly enjoyed the movie itself. You have your introduction to Shadow the Hedgehog, and it is done beautifully. You're given background introduction to a character, like very mysterious who this Shadow character is. You're given his backstory, which is so freaking heartbreaking once you understand like the full gravity of what's going on and why he is so angry, why he wants revenge. Is the death of his best friend Maria, and the special connection they had as best friends, and he seeks revenge against those who had harmed Maria and did these terrible things. And then you have Dr. Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, pulling the strings the entire time to lure Shadow in to what his ultimate goal is. His ultimate is to destroy the world. And it's the way they execute that in the course of the movie, because it's not labeled to you. It's like, here's the plot straight up front. No, we get that at the third act. We get what there again. I'm not a gamer.
Yeah, and you've not played the games.
I've never played the games,
and you've not seen gameplay of it. So you've not even watched cutscene movies
until afterwards. But
okay, so I'm guessing then you have gone and seen some of the cutscenes.
I have.
So I will go ahead and say I'm aware that the audio mixing in the game is garbage.
I'll agree. It is hot garbage. It is hot garbage. But this movie,
I loved it as a kid.
This movie in general is amazing because how the story plays out, how they build the story with its 3-act structure is done incredible. Jim Carrey. It's like a reviewer I love to listen to. Basically, it's like they said, okay, Jim, be like, here's the third. Be like, apparently he signed on because he loved the script so much. And it's okay, and Jim. Money. Just apparently he needed money.
That's what the interview says.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he says in the interview. So
yeah, but it's how the way he goes full Jim Carrey It's amazing that he plays both characters, and you have this tremendous, amazing moment.
And they're both distinct.
They're very distinct characters. They're two different characters. Obviously, like, do you have similarities? There's a symbiotic way going on, but the point where they are trying to size each other up, and you go the entire meta moment where it's like, what was the line where it's
like, it's almost like we're both characters in a movie being played by the same actor.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was genius beyond belief.
And they look at the camera while they're doing it. So it's like, okay, this is a Deadpool inspired moment. I get that.
Yes.
But this is one of the few movies that can get away with breaking the fourth wall for a hot second and coming back, and it doesn't affect the quality.
Agreed. And I love the dynamic between the Robotniks as grandfather and grandson, and having no idea that what's coming in the third act. It's like, okay, be like this and this and this and this, and this whole act of betrayal that's like, be like, I never cared about you. All I cared about was Maria, and Maria's dead. So now I care nothing about the world.
The quote, "Oh, Ivo, you're not Maria."
Yeah, you're not Maria.
And it's like...
He walks off.
Because the entire time, Dr. Robotnik, Ivo, will say, he's been loving having a family for apparently the first time in his life.
Yeah.
Having a grandfather. And the fact that at the end, he goes, I never loved you. Is like such a betrayal to Robotnik. That's like, okay, yeah, now I can... Because see, here's the thing. I knew kind of what they were doing. Didn't know the exact story.
Yeah.
Because while we're adapting Sonic Adventure 2, we're still doing an original story within this framework. So I knew if they were doing Sonic Adventure 2 and they were going to do the ending in a similar fashion, which you would want...
Yes.
I knew Dr. Robotnik was going to have to turn away from... Gerald at some point.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how they were going to do it where it would be believable unless they were going to somehow turn Professor Gerald good too, which was not going to work at all. That's not what his character's supposed to be. But they did it in such a way where it's like when he said that, it's like, oh, you're going to break his heart. Much like everyone, that's the thing. Everyone's heart gets broken in this.
Oh yeah, it's very much about brokenheartedness.
It's the weirdest. It's the thing you would not expect. This franchise, the way these movies are set up, they would do.
Yeah,
because like I said, these are kids' movies. They have they are shallow in a way, but they still in this film, even with the shallowness of many of the characters, they're all caricatures. But they're done in such a way where it's like, I don't care that they're caricatures.
Yeah.
Because I literally just saw one of these caricatures get shot. Oh, get exploded.
Yeah.
And now this one anthropomorphic hedgehog that somehow, at least they weren't playing the joke of somehow everyone's confusing him with Sonic.
Yeah.
Like they did in the game, because that was stupid.
Yeah.
But at least they were doing that. But I love how they just did such a good job. Even though they're caricatures, they did such a good job of making me believe all of these characters were real in such a way that I would say the Knuckles television show really didn't.
Yeah,
it's just weird. They didn't make me believe that. This, I believed every minute of it for the 2 hours we were watching the film.
Yeah,
or however long it was.
Yeah,
it was just such a good, fun kids film that. Treated the source. That's the thing. That's I think what I like about these is the longer they've gone. Each of these films treats its source material as if it were Shakespeare.
Yeah, agreed. In some small way,
we know it's not.
Yeah, they
know it's not. But they've done better. They've done so much better as these movies have gone on to take the source material seriously. That it's hard to believe that this entire movie franchise started off with them thinking nobody cares that our Sonic is not going to look like the Sonic from the games. We're going to design him our own way, and then learning that we actually do care. It's the fact that it started off with that ugly Sonic trailer, and that's really what that was really the moment that fixed this whole thing, and they realized they had to start taking this as seriously as the fans do. I think is what makes this third film great, because you have so many great callbacks to the game, so many great callbacks to lore. Yeah, there are some things here that they could need to tweak and make better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect film.
No.
But it's one I enjoyed watching in a way, in a similar way to how I like watching the Guardians of the Galaxy films or some of the Marvel films. I'm not expecting brilliance. I'm expecting fun and maybe a little heartwarming. And if you can break my heart and make me feel for a character, that's just icing on the cake.
Agreed.
And that's what this is. This is just a fun film. I am still looking forward to them. If I still want them to somehow do a Smash Brothers film and have Detective Pikachu and Tails meet, and Tails go, I look nothing like him. I want that to happen. It's not going to.
Yeah.
And if someone could do it, it would be Ryan Reynolds. But
yeah, so kind of just to wrap this up, this movie is so layered with jokes, and like it's designed for little kids, but it also designed for adults who are fans of the series or fans of the games, what have you. The level of meta jokes and the level of 90s level jokes are so great. Be like, you have a Green Lantern joke in the middle of this movie.
Yes,
it's like it was so fantastic. Great.
I love how they bash DC in every movie.
Oh yeah, every time.
It's like, what does Paramount have against DC? They don't have a ball. They don't have a dog in the superhero movie hunt.
Yes.
Why are they bashing DC?
Agreed. There's the make good choices and learn from the past.
Yes.
Not allowing the grief or anger to control you and that to bring you forward or to be what drives you, what is your ambition mind. And you have this great moment where it's like the pivotal moment where obviously the lesson that Sonic has to learn is to, one, trust his friends, and two, is to not let revenge be his guide. Because he learns that from Shadow. He learns it from Shadow when Shadow mistakenly attacks Tom or Donut
Lord. Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to get into when you finish this. I want to transition into talking about the humans, Donut Lord and whatever the girl is called. I can't remember what.
Yeah, her name is eluding me at the moment. But be like,
she was wearing a muffin shirt in this one. But
she was wearing a muffin shirt. I didn't realize that. So. You have that pivotal moment where Tom is hurt. We don't know his condition, and Shadow he's hell bent on revenge, and he wants to take out Shadow for what he's done to his best friend, to his human dad in a way. And there's just that moment where he takes the Chaos Emerald.
Oh, the green. It's the Master Emerald. Technically,
okay.
Because it's the Master Emerald. I'm not saying that, but this Master Emerald is made up of the Chaos Emerald. So
so
slightly different.
Yeah, so we have that. We have where he takes the emerald, and he goes super, and he is hellbent on he is going to destroy Shadow. And you start to realize the parallel between these two characters. That culmination on the moon where they had this heart-to-heart conversation about revenge and not being controlled by it. And like the point where Shadow and Sonic are in the duel, are fighting each other, and be like, oh, you now know my pain. You know why I do this. Yeah. And it's like, no, I don't. Be like, I'm doing this for this. It's the exact same thing. Be like, you hurt someone I love, so I'm going to punish you. And you have this great moment where these two characters learn to let go of the past. Yeah. Be like, what was it? The point where it was Shadow asked Sonic, do you know what kind of what hurt and pain and regret is? And he recalls what Longclaw was to him. And he learned to be like, does that pain ever go away? It's like, no, but you learn to work around it. And you learn what was Longclaw when we learn. And there's all these great little touching moments. And to culminate, what I'm going to is like you have where they do team up, they both go super, and they fly off, and you get the
live and learn,
and it's a great homage, but like you live and learn, and it's a great story. It's a great like you use very poetically Shakespearean in a way, and it's a great movie. Fantastic movie. And going into the humans very quickly,
because we hadn't talked about Donut Lord and Maddie yet. They don't do much in this film.
No, I think it's just obligated to be there.
Well, but they have an important role. I mean, they have the thing at the very beginning. But when they meet back up with when the Sonic team guys come back and meet with them, Team Sonic, I should say, they have apparently been bored for however long Sonic and the crew have been gone, and they've been trying all these other hobbies.
Oh yeah, and they have free time.
They have free time, and one of them is for Donut Lord is ventriloquism.
Oh my gosh, yes, that puppet.
I want to know if what is the name of that actor?
James Marsden.
James Marsden. I want to know if James Marsden actually is a ventriloquist, and if he was actually doing ventriloquism during that part, because I swear it looked like he was.
Agreed.
It was done very well. It could just be a trick with him recording the lines for the puppet later, but then that would be fine. But I loved how and I like how they brought it back up when they were sneaking into the gun base, and he keeps messing up the hologram generator, and one of the things is the puppet head.
The puppet head. That was so good.
But
that was so good.
But and this is the only time we see the cousin and her husband in this while they're pretending to be them.
Yeah, because they work for Gunn.
Yeah, they work for him. But Rachel does a great job of being Maddie playing Rachel. That actress does a good job.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, and of course that's where Tom ends up getting shot. So they don't have much to do in the film, but it's not. It's really not about them. They are just the backup for this, and they didn't want to include them because they're part of the story, and they will probably come up in the next one.
Yes, agreed.
But having Tom be the reason Sonic feels the need for revenge because he thinks his father is dead.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time he's lost a parent. He feels like he's lost a parent figure.
Yeah, he doesn't
the death of Longclaw.
Yeah, because he doesn't want that to happen again.
Yeah,
and he feels like it's happening again, so he feels like he's going to lose something.
Right, and so now he understands the revenge to a degree. He understands why Shadow wants revenge, but he does point out there at the very end, and they come to the realization. Honestly, this never goes away.
Never does.
The revenge is the wrong route to go. It's just such a good fun movie. I'm trying not to go off on it like we said, because I could be here for 3 or 4 hours and we don't want to be here that late.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's such a great movie. Go watch it, and while it's in theaters, if you can get to a theater, and and you have a good theater to go to in many ways.
Yes.
Go watch this film. It's such a fun little film.
It is. It's so worth.
Especially if you like the rest of the Sonic movies so far.
Yeah, exactly. If you like a fun movie that you can watch with your kids, like as an adult, it's worth it. This like Drew said, it has very much a like Shakespearean. They're not taking it so seriously, but there's seriousness behind it. I absolutely loved Shadow's story. I loved it every time they kind of pulled the layer back, pulled that onion back. It's like, oh, dear. Oh, man, dude, I feel sorry for this poor little black hedgehog.
And let me just say one last little thing. Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yes.
Does an amazing job as Shadow.
Agreed.
Yeah, you can kind of tell it's him, but he was the perfect casting choice for this, and I'm glad he did it. To me, he is the voice of Shadow. From one of the things I appreciate about what Keanu Reeves' performance, he actually did his research on the character.
Yeah.
He understood that character before he came in. He was asking questions. He was not just doing it for a paycheck. I don't know if that's how everyone else approached it.
Yeah.
Colin O'Shaughnessy already knew her character very well, but he did such a good job doing that character.
Yeah.
much props to Keanu Reeves for taking what has to look like from the outside as a silly kids film and treating it like it's gospel.
Yeah.
While you're at least performing it and treating it seriously. It's why I like Michael Caine in Muppet Christmas Carol, and but don't like other. It's why I don't like Tim Curry as much in Muppet Treasure Island, because I think he is just hamming it up there.
Oh, okay.
Not taking it seriously. But anyway, we'll get more into that whenever we get to that film.
Yes.
But yeah, go watch the movie. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say this because the one, like the going back to Keanu Reeves real fast.
Yeah, sorry.
His when he is first introduced to the Sonic team, he's like, well, be like, you're a colorful bunch. Like that, very flat. Be like, there's some emotion behind it. There's a lot of rage behind it. But it's just very very Keanu Reeves, but he's playing a character like he's Keanu Reeves.
Right. What I like about that scene, and I know we're trying to wrap it up, but we both keep pushing it.
Yes.
What I like about that scene is this is probably the first time Shadow has ever seen anyone that looks even remotely like him.
Yeah.
And they're working for the people he sees as the enemy.
Yeah.
How angry that must make you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, go watch this film.
Yes,
it's excellent.
Agreed.
And I think that's where we're going to leave it here tonight, unless you've got anything more to add.
Again, one of our listeners, Heather Morgan, she sent me a link to the announcement they've already greenlit the fourth film, which is supposed to be out in 2026, 27.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So, yeah, look forward to that. And we'll kind of try to keep you updated as that information rolls out. But, yeah, that has been a reaction to Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
So, in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.